For more on the Eurozone and this topic, Pedro Santos Guerreiro, editor-in-chief at Jornal de Negocios, joins me live from Lisbon, Portugal. Welcome, sir. Let me start with today's comments by Mario Draghi. A lot of folks are calling it dovish, meaning that rates are going to remain low for an extended period of time. Was there a surprise there?
Well, just in some extent, yes, because back in January, Mr. Draghi really created the expectation that it could be a little more hawkish, meaning that it could rise the interest rates in order to control the inflation to his close but lower than 2% target. Well, in the end, it didn't, and it kept his interest rates. Now the issue really is what will he do next, because and we should wait for the next Governors' Council meeting and for the next data, which will be published early in March from the staff forecasts. And if inflation drops and if the economy keeps to be subdued, then he may even cut the interest rates on the next months. That's the expectation now in Europe.
Pedro, what were his main concerns? You mentioned inflation being part of it.
Well, inflation really was one of the worries, but it doesn't seem to be the main worry now. When Mr. Draghi is keeping his interest rates in such a low level, what he's really saying is that he's worried on the economical growth. And that really is the question now in Europe, as people like Monsieur Hollande keep saying. Economical growth really is the problem now in Europe, and that is one of his main worries. Bear in mind that the ECB mandate only regards price stability, unlike the Federal Reserve, which mandate does regard not only price stability, but also economical growth and employment. Mr. Draghi seems to be pushing forward his mandate, and the European politicians really seem to be very happy with this, because it really is helping the economy to grow and Pedro, not to be in recession.
Pedro, I want to ask him, you're there in Europe, and the situation in Europe has been ongoing now for a couple of years. Give us a sense of the mood of businesses and leaders on the European crisis.
Well, things are improving, but there is still a lot of skepticism among the entrepreneurs. The thing is that you have this duality in Europe. The financial aspect really is being addressed, and it really seems to be back on track, and mainly because of the ECB efforts. But the credit flows are not reaching the real economy, as Mr. Draghi has told us today. And there still is a lot of skepticism because of this. Don't forget that the unemployment still is very high on many countries in Europe, and that there are highly indebted countries. So in order to boost the business confidence, Mr. Draghi really trusts on the positive contagion, if you will, of the financial markets.
Pedro, I'm sure you're aware of this, but the rest of the world judges Europe's health in large part by the strength of the euro. The strength of the euro has done a significant bounce back from where it was just last year, when a lot of people were talking it would break 120, 110, and even 1 perhaps. I guess it's a two-part question. One, is it right for us to be watching euro as closely as we do? And second, what's the greatest risk right now to perhaps things resurfacing again sometime later this year?
Well, the confidence on the euro really increased after the now famous London speech of Mr. Draghi back in July, when he told us that the ECB would do whatever it took to preserve the euro. And that was a very, very strong message that he put to all the world. And the euro really prevailed. That was very important. Now the thing and the worry really is the economy. Economy. That really is the message now in Europe. Even because if the economy doesn't start growing, and in order to have that, you really need the credit flows to reach the economy, and perhaps you will have to have some kind of investment program financed by the European Investment Bank and by the states.
I also want to ask you about your thoughts in terms of how the rest of the world views the problem. I've heard a number of comments from U.S. officials. the European problem needs a European solution. But the rest of the world is very much involved in terms of the outcome. Has the IMF, has the World Bank, has other central banks done enough to help Europe get through this?
In a financial aspect, it really seems to have worked now for Europe. In economical terms, it didn't, and the European economy really needs some solution, not only a political solution, but also a political solution. Because if you don't have the economy growing, you may have problems in some countries, namely Spain, Portugal, Italy, and you do have this menace on the political situation in these countries, which hold a very high unemployment level. So, should we trust more on the IMF programs and on the World Bank programs? Well, probably yes. Don't forget that the G20 agreements have already put forward some kind of agreements on avoiding some currency competitiveness, aggressive ways, and that was important too in order to stabilize the euro and the eurozone.
Pedro Santos Guerreiro, thank you very much for your insights. Great to have you on
Thank
Biz
you.
Asia America.